Is Georgia development U when it comes to the college football landscape? If you watched the NFL Combine this past week and into the weekend, you saw a lot of dudes from the G go out and have themselves an absolute day in Indianapolis. So what does that say about Georgia and what they do behind closed doors to get those dudes to ball out in that kind of stage? Now, I already know what you're going to say. JD, they recruit 5 stars. They've got the best talent in the country, it feels like, year in and year out. They got the creme de la creme year in and year out. I'm not disagreeing with you, but there's a little bit more to this that we need to discuss together. So, first things first, make sure you subscribe right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Talking college football every single day. Talk a lot of Georgia. Talk a lot about pretty much every single team across the college football landscape. So make sure you're locked in. Again, make sure you're subscribed. And also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Pickell. Okay, so as I was saying, the key rebuttal that we're going to hear to this is, well, JD, of course they have guys do great at the Combine. They got the top talent in the country every single recruiting cycle walking into their doors. I don't disagree with that. But the guys that we've seen ball out for Georgia, both at the Combine and then on Sundays in the NFL, not all of them are 5 stars. Actually, a handful of guys that are 3 stars that are set to make themselves some money here, I believe, in the near future. Jordan Davis, he was a 3-star. He's now with the Eagles. Javon Bullard, I think he's going to be a stud when he gets to the league, but you can already imagine he's going to make himself some money here pretty soon with the way that he's going to prepare for the NFL draft and what he puts on tape for the NFL draft. 3-star. Ladd McConkey, 3-star. Tore it up. And then if you want to sprinkle in some Stetson Bennett, I understand that he hasn't had the NFL career to this point at least that I think a lot of people would have hoped he would have in Athens, Georgia, but still, 3-star cat, won you not 1 but 2 national championships. He's got GOAT status in Athens, Georgia. 3-star. So you see what I'm saying here. Yes, a ton of elite talent walks in those doors, but they do a tremendous job of elevating everyone's game and developing everyone from the time they step in, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, whatever you are, walk on, doesn't matter, and then getting the most out of you by the time you leave for the NFL and whatever you want to accomplish from that point forward. So how does this happen? For me, kind of got to thinking about this, and the example that came to mind was sharks in their tank only grow to be so big. Like according to Google, a shark can grow about 8 inches in its tank because the tank's so small. However, you put that same shark in the ocean, it can grow to more than 8 feet. I'm not saying that everyone that walks onto Georgia's campus and plays football there is the same thing as a shark, but what I want to make sure we talk about here is your growth in a lot of ways is dictated by your environment. Ladd McConkey, if you put him at a lesser school, a G5 school, is he going out and having the success he's having at the NFL Combine? Is he able to be as good as he is right now if he's not practicing against Georgia's defense every single day during the week? I don't think so. I think Ladd McConkey was able to go from a 3-star to now having, tremendous NFL aspirations because of the way that he had to work and the way that Georgia elevated his game. Couple things go into this. The standard that's in place for Georgia, I believe, is second to none. Like the culture of competitiveness there is elite every single day. You have to earn it. That's the same across the board. Whether you're a 3-star or a 5-star, you better compete, you better bring it, you better win. Excellence is the standard. Okay, that's one thing to say. It's a whole other thing to do it and walk it out every single day during the week. And to have to go to Bloody Tuesday and beat the heck out of each other during a practice during the week when you have a game to play on Saturday. So the temperature at Georgia's football facility is set way up here competitively. You better bring it. And so when you have that across the board, the 3-stars and the 5-stars going at it, man, like everyone gets better. Like if you're a 3-star and the standard is to win, well, you have no choice but to win. You better do it against a 5-star. And so in that way, you get the most out of your ability. You get the most out of yourself. Iron sharpens iron. There's not much sharper iron than there is on Georgia's roster. So in that way, everyone's able to up their level of play. Now, I also want to make sure we say this too. I talked a lot about 3-stars and how much they're shining when he gets to the NFL Combine. Like, it's not just the 3-stars. It's also the guys that are 5-stars on Georgia's roster that have a ton of success. You say, JD, they're 5-stars. They're supposed to have success. That's how this whole industry works, right? Y'all give out 32 5-stars because that's equivalent to the amount of first-round draft picks you have. You're trying to project NFL success to a degree. Yes, there's a piece of that that's true, but what we're trying to gauge here, to the best of my knowledge here, and I don't want to speak for Charles Power or Cody Belair, but in a large part, the projections they're making, I have to believe, is based on the physical abilities. There's a lot of dudes that are 5 stars out of high school. I shouldn't say a lot. There's a fraction of dudes that are 5 stars out of high school, go to college, are never heard from again. Is that because somebody just missed on their eval? More often than not, it's because something else happened with either that person from a competitive makeup standpoint, or more than likely the situation they ended up at, they weren't pushed. They weren't able to rise to that level. The standard in place wasn't high enough to get the most out of them. Their environment didn't demand the growth that they needed to have. And so going back to Georgia here, you very rarely hear about 5 stars going to Georgia and disappearing and never being heard from again. Doesn't really happen. They might disappear for a year or two. They might be a guy that you don't see as a starter. That's because they're grinding on the scout team or giving a look as a 3 or a 2 on the depth chart and making their way, paying their dues, buying into the process, competing against that standard every single day against those 5 stars that are ahead of them, that are upperclassmen, and then eventually you see them pop, have a big year, have a big 2 years, and then you see them at the combine run a ridiculous 40 or whatever you want to say about that. So going back to the development side of things here, yes, you see Ladd McConkey and Jordan Davis and guys like that set themselves up to make a whole lot of money in the NFL. That's real. But it's also a thing where you get 5 stars actually translate to the 5-star billing they have at the high school level when they get to the league. So I'm not saying it's 100% across the board, but I would say if I'm a recruit, the thing that would be attractive to me when I'm looking at Georgia, yes, they win a lot of ball games. Yes, Kirby Smart is, I believe right now, the best coach in college football, but the way they're going to develop you, if you buy into their way of doing things, you buy into their process, their standards, you're going to set yourself up for success. And the other part about this is you're able to set that standard as high as it is in Athens, Georgia, because you have proof of what you've already accomplished. Like, it's not just this thing where, hey, guys, if you trust what we're doing here for Kirby Smart and Company, if you trust the way that we do things, if you trust our offseason conditioning and the way that we practice and our attention to detail, all those things, we're not just saying that to you to say that so that we have a good, crisp practice and we feel good about ourselves as coaches. We're saying that to you because we've given you these results that have been accomplished by the guys that came before you. Those national championship trophies, those guys were doing the same things that you're doing right now. Like Kirby Smart talks a lot about how he'll throw on practice tape of Nakobe Dean or a Jalen Carter or whoever. They're just getting after it. And that fires up the younger guys, seeing guys that are now in the league do their thing. So when it comes to Georgia being developmental U, I'm not saying that other places aren't great, but I think right now Georgia has to be the best, if not one of the best, in the entire country. So Ladd McConkey, Javon Bullard, 3-star cats, do not be surprised in the slightest if they get drafted at a fairly high round in the NFL draft and go on and have success when it comes to the Sunday game. Make sure you're locked in here. Make sure you subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Pickell. Let me know who you think is developmental U. I think it's Georgia. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.